Yo, check. Should I do one of those cool YouTuber entrances? Oh, hold on, 1 second. That's good. Hey guys, what's up? My name is Jean-Pierre Boudreau, and if you clicked on this video, you're probably just like me. You are looking to purchase a new camera. You're thinking about the Panasonic S5, and you're trying to figure out, is this worth my money? Well, today I'm hoping I can give you guys a little help in answering that question. Just to start, a few quick disclaimers. Number one, if you can't tell by my depressingly low subscriber count, this video is not sponsored by anybody. No one gives me any money to make these videos. Although Panasonic, if you want to throw some money my way, your boy is down. Number two, I am shooting on the S5 right now, but I have it plugged into my computer, and I am using it as a webcam, recording this on OBS, so I can utilize my little podcast mic right here. This is a Fifine mic. It's like $50, and for my purposes right now, it works perfectly fine. So while I am shooting on the S5, this is not exactly the best example of how it looks or what the preamps for audio are on the S5, but I will include some examples. So I want to start off by letting you guys know a little bit about me personally. So my name, like I said, is Jean-Pierre Boudreau. I am currently based in New Orleans, and I'm an inspiring filmmaker, videographer, documentarian. Basically, I like to tell people I have been making videos for probably about 10 years, but I've been making videos I'm really proud of for about 2 to 3. The first 10 years was just little things here and there throughout high school, a little bit of college. I was working with equipment that really wasn't that great, and I thought I was a lot better than I actually was. But then within the last 2 years specifically, I've started making stuff that I'm really happy with. But the first camera I ever personally bought was a Canon T6 with one of my refund checks in college. And I've never forgiven myself because I should have bought a T6i. And, I did some videos with that, quite a few videos on my channel from, my college years where I used that. So I got to a point where I just didn't want to use a T6 to make videos anymore because it just really sucked. It had video capabilities, but really videos were not its strong suit. I made a couple for my church using it, and they all came out really bad. And so the creative director of my church, which is my primary outlet for making videos still right now, they finally sat me down and said, hey, you need something better. You need to start saving up for another camera. But in the meantime, you can have this. And so for about 2 years, every video I shot was shot on this. This, my friends, is a Canon 5D Mark II. This baby was state-of-the-art in 2009, and this was given to me in like 2019, basically. So 10 years old. Now, don't get me wrong. It did what I needed to do. I could shoot in 24, I could shoot in 1080, 24. So yeah, I shot a lot of stuff on this, and I also primarily shot on this. This is a iPhone 11 Pro. I actually specifically got this because I wanted to use it as a vlogging camera. My very first vlog I shot with this was in 2019 in November around Thanksgiving when I went to Guatemala on a mission trip. I actually bought this specifically thinking I want to bring this on that trip. And then I would actually shoot with both of these together because what I would do is I have quite a few videos where I primarily shot with this as my main camera. And then if I wanted to do any kind of slow motion or anything like that to blend into it or to cut into it, I would shoot it on my camera using, I used the Moment Pro app for a while. It was okay. And then I really started using ProTake is a really good app if you're trying to shoot better quality videos on your phone. You want more control over the features, over the settings. Check out ProTake. As serviceable as an iPhone 11 Pro is, you can make really fun vlogs on this thing. I can't show up to a client and shoot trying to use this. And this thing, I can only shoot in 24 frames per second. And don't get me wrong, you can do a lot with 24 frames per second. But it was always very muddy looking, looked very tan or very gray. It was really hard to make it look vibrant and good. And both of these things, even though on ProTake you can have a log profile, it was more of a gray filter over a log profile. So it never really came out looking very good. I knew that if I wanted to move forward with a career in videography and doing these kinds of things, I had to step my game up. I had to get something that was more versatile. I wanted something that could at least shoot in 60 frames per second. You know, there's a lot of cameras out there that could do that. Honestly, I was at a point where it's like, I really wanted to get a Blackmagic pocket cinema camera, either the 4K or the 6K. At the end of the day, they're really incredible cameras. You know, if I was at a point where I was already making, you know, content for clients every single day, something like that would make sense. I came down to trying to decide between the Sony A7 III, which is still a fantastic camera, even though it's a couple years old, and the Panasonic S5. So I decided on the S5, firstly because of the price. Even though the A7 III and the S5 with the kit lens are both kind of around the same price, I ultimately leaned more towards the S5, mostly because it was newer, and I was like, if I want to spend $2,000 on a camera, I'd rather buy the one that's a little bit newer and has these other professional features that I wanted. That was the second thing, really, was the professional features. The fact that it has histograms, it has waveforms, audio monitoring, it had a headphone and a mic jack. All these things that, honestly, for a camera in its price range, you don't expect it to have, but are completely necessary. The biggest thing for me was focus peaking. So the thing about the 5D Mark II is it taught me how to get good with manual focus. However, this little tiny screen on it would make it really hard to nail the focus. So sometimes I'd pull footage into the edit and I would notice that things weren't quite right. You know what I mean? There's always something a little bit off. My focus was always just a little bit off. So I knew that most of the time, if I'm doing any kind of professional project or anything other than a vlog, I'm probably going to use manual focus. And I wanted focus peaking built in because I didn't know if and when I was going to be able to get an external monitor. The next thing was Vlog. Vlog to me was really fascinating. I liked that it was built in. I heard that with some of the other cameras, including like the S1, I think, or the S1H. You had to pay for it. It was an extra feature. For instance, like I shot some footage recently at this little really cheesy little parking lot fair, air quotes, filming with Vlog with a low light. Some of this footage you're seeing, I was able to jack the contrast up to 100 and the saturation up to 150, and the image still looks incredible. And lastly, it was the quality. The quality was a big thing for me too. Like I said before, I wanted the biggest bang for my buck. One really big misconception, and my one major complaint with this camera, people talk about, the autofocus is really bad. I think a lot of people who complain about it, they either haven't tried to make it good, or they just want to crap on Panasonic. I watched a couple videos about the best autofocus settings for the S5. I changed those settings and it works really well. But for the most part, I feel like 99% of my uses that I've used it, because again, if I'm doing professional work, probably not going to be relying on the autofocus. A lot of people have talked about this, is that in order to use an external monitor, this camera has a micro HDMI port. And that thing really scares me. I've heard they break very easily. It's a very small connection. I'm really worried every time I plug it in that it's not going to hold or it's going to snap. I think they definitely could have fit a mini HDMI, if not a full-size HDMI, on this camera. So again, how have I used this camera? Like I said before, I've used it in vlogging scenarios and I've used it for professional work. And if you're asking me who is this camera for, I think it's for people who are a musician like myself. They want a camera that is competitive and that is 100% usable in the professional space, but they also want it to be able to be used for like personal use. There's something like a Blackmagic pocket cinema camera. You're not going to go around vlogging with that, right? That's really great for professional use, not so great for personal use. So that was a big thing for me when picking cameras. I wanted something that had that balance between I could use it in both scenarios, because I do a lot of both. If your primary focus is just doing vlogs and personal videos, the S5 is probably not for you. At the end of the day, if you were to ask me, JP, should I buy a Panasonic S5? Is it a good investment? I would say absolutely yes. It is already, in the few months that I've had it, brought my skill set to the next level. And I've already seen an increase in quality. In the kind of videos I'm making, I'm thinking about things differently. I'm thinking about how to do shots differently. So yeah, if you're thinking about buying a Panasonic S5, do it. Until next time, guys. I'll see you then.